Welcome survivors, this is your boy Mr. Rums, and I'm here to take you on a journey through my 100-day hardcore playthrough of Ark Lost Island. Lush rainforests, tall mountains and vast oceans, and some of the coolest creatures Ark has ever seen. But Lost Island holds a deep and dark secret. King Dinopithecus, probably one of Ark's hardest bosses, and most certainly one of Ark's hardest solo bosses. However easy a giant monkey might seem, I assure you this guy is tough. If you can make it into his lush rainforest hideout, you'll be promptly greeted by a horde of flying Dinopithecus, as well as some well-armored high-level Amargasaurus. But who said this was going to be easy? Alright, let's do this. Day 1 was as typical and quaint as could be. We spawned in the bay, which is an easy zone. Since this is a hardcore playthrough, I'm only allowed one life, so we're gonna go full Bob mode and spawn on the beach. It's fun to be a noob again. We wasted no time in exploring the local flora and fauna. We began gathering thatch, wood, and stone, as well as some flint to make some rudimentary tools. Bow is critical. I'd also like to get a starter base up ASAP. At least before nightfall. But before then, we're gonna have to craft a bunch of starting stuff. We crafted mad arrows as well as a bow. We also got a pickaxe and close to a full set of armor. Where's all that hide at? After a bit of scouting, we came across the Lystra, which we bullied into submission. Just let it happen. After taking down the Lystra, we quickly started to harvest him for his hides. We found one of his friends hiding behind a rock, so we took him out as well. And now that we have some hide, we can finally craft one of Ark's most valuable tools, the bolas. Bolas work good for general hunting, as well as knocking out some lower level tames before you get some trank arrows. And yeah, in a hardcore playthrough, they will definitely save your life a time or two. I know your little tricks too well. We harvested as much hide and raw meat as we possibly could, and continued exploring down the beach. Yeah, I'm just gonna turn around now. After a bit of exploring, we came across the suitable base location. So we began farming a bunch of stone as well as thatch and wood. After a bit of drop farming, we were high enough level to learn the smithy, the forge, metal tools, and most importantly, stone building pieces, which we began to craft as many as we could. We continued farming more stone building pieces as well as experience. A few tames would make this a lot easier. Ooh, 112 trike. We will be back for you. After a bit more farming, we were able to craft our first forge, which will definitely speed the process up. While we were at it, we also crafted up a full set of hide armor. Officially no longer a beach bob. We continued working on our base, getting a bunch of stone foundations down, and we placed down our forge right in the corner of our base. We farmed out a bunch of wood and thatch and began making some rudimentary walls. We'll upgrade these later. We farmed out a bunch more wood and made some large storage boxes and used the ladder trick to make sure we placed them perfectly straight. Nice. During that whole process, I accidentally placed the door frame in a very bad location, so we went out to farm some more to correct the situation. Why didn't I think about that? On the morning of day 2, after a bunch more farming, we had a bunch of meat that we could spoil. We crafted our first smithy, as well as some pestle and mortars to make some tranks. We placed down our smithy as well as our mortar and pestles. Pestle and mortar, that's RuneScape. And now that we have our mortar and pestles down, we can make tranks. We placed a campfire and started cooking some real food. Things are really starting to come together. We crafted some water skins so that we could take water with us on our explorations inland, and made some wooden stairs so we don't break our leg trying to fill our water skins. By this point, we had a ton of spoiled meat, so we filled up our mortar and pestles. We placed a ladder to get onto the roof of our little house. Not sure why, but we began gathering as much berries as we could. We're pretty much only looking for narco berries at this point, but some of the mayho berries will come in handy too. While we were out berry gathering, we came across an unsuspecting victim. So we bullied him and used our bat to knock him unconscious. You're coming home with me, buddy. After getting acquainted with our new pal, we made our way back to base. Oh my god, it's the Christmas event. I forgot about this. I was very excited to see that Raptor Claus was coming through. While we waited on all of our presents, we began crafting the necessary stuff to craft tranks. I hope I get a PlayStation. I hope I get Minecraft. But then it dawned on me, Raptor Claus was not going to be delivering any presents to my biome. This is all your fault, Dodo. Stay in the house. After waiting all night for dear Raptor Claus, on the morning of day 3 I crafted a bunch of metal tools as well as a metal crossbow which will help me trank out some tames. We went out searching for some tames when we came across archenemy number 1. Why is it always gotta be ichthyes? After a pretty sweet 180 bulla, we got the ichthy on the ground and we were able to take him out easily. We smelted a bunch more metal in our forge and referenced the handy dodo decks to see what we'd need to tame that trike. This is obviously not sponsored by them. I just can't recommend dodo decks anymore to a survivor. And with a good idea on the supplies I'd need, I went out searching for that trike, and before long, we found him. Man, maybe I should have crafted a trap. Alright, this is bad. This is not good. Go, 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 go. Oh my gosh, what is a Rex doing this early? Nope. Just as I thought the trike was on the defense and running away from me, he turned and aggroed on me once again. One more hit and I'm done. One more hit. Thankfully, the 2 points I pumped into run speed definitely paid off. And before long, I had the trike tranked out and ready to be tamed. Now I just gotta worry about that Rex. After hand gathering some more mayho berries, we learned the trike saddle and crafted one up. We babysat our trike through the rest of day 4, and before long he had tamed up and was ready to be saddled and taken for a test drive. Look at all that thatch. Having a trike this early on will definitely make our playthrough go a lot smoother. In the wee hours of the morning on day 5, we replenished our stock of tranks, and we started to stockpile as much thatch and wood as we possibly could. We are starting to run out of metal, but thanks to our new metal tools, getting metal ore is a breeze. Plus all that juicy stone and flint. On day 6, we farmed a bunch more stone and wood and began crafting some behemoth dino gates. The method was pretty simple. I would use my trike to farm a bunch of thatch and wood and harvest all the stone I need by hand and craft it on top the trike. On the morning of day 7, we began work on the frame of our base. Nope. But as we were working on our base, we were visited by a tech raptor that was going to tame him. Little did I know at the time, the stego getting to the raptor first was a blessing in disguise, as he dropped a lot of scrap metal and oil when I harvested him. After a ton more farming, on the morning of day 8, we were ready to place down our behemoth gate. And like always, utilizing the ladder trick to make sure our gate is placed perfectly straight. We spent the rest of the day farming and crafting stone pieces, and on the morning of day 9, after crafting a bunch of pillars, we began the outline of the water portion of our base. We continued construction on our base throughout the day, farming as needed and crafting as we ran out. Although there was an event going on, this was all done by hand, and that's pretty much because I don't think I can get a Dodic back to my base. Really need cryopods. By day 10, our base was really starting to look legit. And by day 11, we had enough walls to pretty much cover the entire area of the outside of our pen. We continued upgrading our base and farming as needed all throughout the night. Sweet. The exhaustion was really starting to show, so we decided to go inside and have a bite to eat. As me and Dodo were enjoying our R&R, we heard a familiar sound. I'm not even gonna get excited anymore. Never any presents for the beach bobs. But to my surprise, halfway through the night, a present fell just across the body of water where our base was built. And it was worth it. We got a Mesopithecus chibi. And on the way back from that, we came across this purple drop with some really nice ghillie pieces. On the morning of day 12, we slowly glided our way back to base. Parachutes are so OP. Stopping in this dense forest was really risky, but Ark's all about taking risks. Are you serious? What is wrong with this map's mesh? After that large disappointment, we continued our way back to base using our parachutes. We took time to admire our new ghillie headpiece, as well as name our chibi, Chips. He is so beautiful. We farmed thatch walls the rest of the day, and then on the morning of day 13, we re-upped our supply of tranks from our pestle and mortar. Sorry, trike. We started a small little pen for our trike and learned the long neck BP. We went out and farmed some more metal and smelted it up in the forge. Gimme that long neck. We crafted a long neck rifle and learned a simple ammo engram. We began crafting spark powder, which we turned into gunpowder, which we turned into simple rifle ammo, which we turned into trank darts eventually. On the morning of day 14, we had a little visitor in our trap. So close. We crafted stuff to make a small stone platform on the 4th story of our trap, and then we went out scouting some better dinos. A Bronto would be nice. Nah. We made a quick pit stop back at base to make a bunch of trank darts with all of the new resources that we made. And we continued crafting more spark powder to make more gunpowder. Once again, we referenced the handy Dodo decks to check out the stuff we will need to take down a Rex. Yes, it's true, we don't know what level the Rex is, but this will give us a good idea on how many darts we'll need to drop one. After a sweet approximation of the resources we'll need to take down a Rex, we set out on the morning of day 15 to see if we can find that Rex. But like always, Mr. Rums can't do anything without being bombarded by ichthyes. You'll learn eventually. Looks like we weren't the only ones hunting. As soon as we turned around, the Rex that we spotted earlier was halfway down the mountain. Yeah, I probably should have cleaned these up beforehand. On the way back down to the trap, the Rex stopped at every possible rest stop to grab a bite to eat. But after fighting literally every dinosaur on the beach, we had the Rex's attention and were able to slyly get him trapped without even a scratch. This is your new home, don't be so grateful. Oh my gosh. Now the only thing left to do was trank this baby out. Just let it happen, Rex. The tranking battle with the Rex lasted throughout the night, but eventually we came out victorious. Yes, yes. Level 120. Let's go. The job was only halfway done though. We'd need a pretty plentiful supply of prime meat if we wanted to tame this guy up efficiently. But because we are on the beach, finding prime meat is not very hard if you have the right tools. Let's see how you like the crossbow. After what seemed like 100 arrows later, we finally dropped the Bronto. It's the season of giving. After feeding our Rex all that good prime meat, he was tamed up and ready for a saddle. We learned the saddle engram and crafted one up in our smithy. Yes, this is awesome. Having a Rex or any high-level carnivore at any game stage is definitely very important. It'll help you get drops, it'll help you farm meat, and just keep your base safe. Juicy. We spent the majority of day 16 getting a bunch of experience for our new Rex friend. We farmed a bunch of hide as well as a bunch of sweet drops that were previously unobtainable. And on the morning of day 17, we came across our first potential flying mount. Yeah, probably actually gonna pass on this one. We continued farming hide and raw meat with our new Rex, and farmed as much experience so that we could pump some levels into him. We came across another Rex, which I probably otherwise would have tried to tame, but since we don't have a spyglass yet, I could not see what level he was. I'll put that hide to good use though. We continued exploring the surrounding area, and we eventually came across some of these drones, which are a very good supply of chitin in the early game. These must be Raptor Claws' little elves. On our way back to base, there was a couple raptors parked outside the base, and since it was the Christmas season and Raptor Claws was about, I figured it would be more worthwhile to try to befriend them. Didn't mean to kill one of them though. And after a long fight, we eventually tranked out 2 of them, which we tamed up with the remaining meat we had from our meat run. Raptor Claws better bring me something. We spent the morning of day 18 testing out our new scythe to collect fiber, and we came across the PT, which we... well, I just woofed that one. Here we go. Which we... come on, Rumsey. After getting disheartened, we eventually decided it would be worthwhile to just let him land on his own terms. A few bullets later and we got him. Now that he's bullied, tranking him would be a breeze. And it's a level 140 PT, which is a really good level for this game stage. We filled him up with raw prime meat from our Rex, and we gave our Rex a fitting name, Rumzet. And after a quick reload to reset the graphics bug that we were experiencing, we had our first PT, which we named PT. Nice. I need cryopods. We learned the engram for the PT saddle and crafted him a saddle with the chitin we got from the drones earlier, and set out to get him some XP to pump some much needed weight into this guy. On the morning of day 19, we had our new PT saddled up and ready to rock. We set out to explore some of the more unreachable zones in the taller parts of the map. You guys are not very friendly up here. We learned the engrams for the chitin armor set so that we could tame a Somnicrops when we find one. And on the morning of day 20, we found ourselves in the snow biome. We couldn't find any crystal and we needed better armor, so on day 21, we made our way back to base to craft up some of that chitin armor. On day 22, we set out much better prepared. We came across a few drops on our way back to the snow biome. Nothing too good though, but that's alright because what we're really looking for is crystal. We made a pit stop down in the jungle biome to farm up some more chitin, and we spent the rest of day 23 scouting the jungle in our new chitin armor for a potential Sonomacrops. I think that's how you say it, but correct me if I'm wrong. We came across a really cool event colored Therizino, but at this stage of the game, I think we're going to pass on this guy. It seemed like there were no Sonomacrops in the jungle biome, so we decided we'd take out all the dinosaurs that might be blocking or share the Sonomacrops spawns, in hopes that some of them will spawn. We destroyed the entire populace of the jungle biome in hopes that some Sonomacrops would spawn. And on the morning of day 24, we referenced the handy dodo decks to get an idea on the resources we would need to tame them. And eventually, on the morning of day 25, after a whole day of waiting, a bunch of Sonoma crops started to spawn around the jungle region. We chased them around all day and all night, either using chitin armor or without chitin armor, and nothing seemed to work. But at least they were spawning, which is more than I could say before. On the morning of day 26, we actually got one of these trapped within a building. Oh my, he landed, yes. I was so excited. I didn't care what level he was. I was just so excited to get my hands on one of these guys after all this time. But then, yeah, you have to be outside to tame these guys. On the morning of day 27, we eventually found a high level that was not trapped in a building. Everything was going smooth until the Sonoma crops aggroed to my PT. Thankfully though, I planned for this. And eventually, after a long day, we tamed our first Sonoma crops, and probably our last. On the morning of day 28, we actually referenced the wiki's resource map to see where crystal actually spawns. It's actually day 28 and I still don't have a spyglass. I swear I spent adequate time searching for crystal, but because I don't have proper snow gear, finding crystal in this biome was tough. So I decided I'd take out some of these mammoths that were stuck on this cliffside to make some proper fur armor. Give me all those pelts. After finishing slaughtering all those mammoths, we continued our search for crystal. We eventually found some up here on this little cliffside here. Yeah, I can probably carry like 20 of these on my PT, but anyone who's ever played Ark probably knows that PTs are horrible pack mules because of their weight. So I decided to craft a bunch of spyglasses while I was already up here to save on weight. 150 RG, I'll be back. We scouted throughout the night, and on the morning of day 29 we made our way back to base. It was time to make as many fur armor pieces as we could because this chitin armor was just not cutting it in the snow biome. We also learned the RG saddle in anticipation for our next tame. And throughout the night, we decided we'd play around with our new Sonoma crops. This tame is so OP. On the morning of day 30, we set out with our new fur armor set and our Sonoma crops to scout out the RG. I don't know if this is the same RG we saw before, but he's a level 150 nevertheless. So we decided we'd throw a trap on this nice little cliffside. That will do. Ooh, 135. Adolescent though. After securing our trap, we decided we'd roll down and get the RG's attention before he flew off. I'm sure you guys already know, but if you want to lead a dino back to your trap, you actually have to let them hit you from time to time so they don't lose interest. And after a little bit of chaining him up the hill, he was eventually in our trap and secured. And now we could start the process of knocking him out and taming him. You're coming home with me, buddy. Down he goes. Day 30 is a little late for me to be getting my first RG, but since he's a 150, I don't think I'm gonna complain very much. Getting prime meat was a breeze. All we had to do was harass this Diplo into submission. And back up at the trap with a bunch of prime meat, the RG was ready to be tamed. This is gonna change everything. And before too long, our RG had tamed up. Now just to give him a fitting name, Arg. Yeah, that'll work. We actually forgot the RG saddle at base, so we decided we'd farm up the fiber and resources that we need while we're here. Thankfully though, we already had a plentiful supply of chitin. And on the way back to base, we actually spotted a 145 Anki, which we promptly picked with our new RG. With our new RG and our sweet Anki in hand, we made our way back to base on the morning of day 31. We dropped the Anki in the pen part of our base and turned all of our dinos to passive. We repaired our long neck and our crossbow and grabbed some more tranks and did a little bit of renovation work on the base while we were here. We're gonna put you somewhere a little safer. And because I don't trust our Rex very much, I dropped the Yankee in a smaller little gated off portion of the pen and began the process of tranking him out. Nice. We are almost complete with our Ark starter kit. The only thing we're really missing now is a high-level Dodic. We quickly learned the saddle for the Yankee and crafted one up in our smithy. And now that we have an RG and an Anki, we can seriously consider getting ourselves some cryopods. The only thing we really need yet is a steady supply of polymer. Before long, our Anki tamed up, and we named him Hanky 3.0. That's a reference to my other 100 days. And with our new Anki saddled up and tamed, we decided we'd take him out for a test drive. On day 32, we learned the engram and crafted some cooking pots for some dyes. We made some more bolas and arrows, and crafted a bunch of black dye throughout the night. On day 33, we crafted a bunch more gunpowder with all the flint we gathered with our new Anki. We continued ferrying water skins to our cooking pot, and we had a bunch of black dye to customize our gear. Nice. On day 34, we set out with our new RG and Anki for some proper metal runs. Leave me alone, direwolves. Up until now, we were pretty much surviving on the scrap metal that we get from river rocks, but with these two tames, getting a steady supply of metal is a breeze. We continued farming metal all throughout the night and pumped our RG and our Anki in weight and melee damage respectively. On the morning of day 34, we were still out farming and we came across this really juicy crossbow drop. Having an ascendant long neck or a crossbow is super critical to any playthrough. The amount of tranks and time it will save you is extreme. After more exploring, we came across some obsidian nodes, but it looks like it was already being farmed by this Rex. I don't think you'll mind if I steal a couple nodes. Oof. Go, 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 go. That was a little close for comfort. We came across the beaver dam, which is awesome because I'd really like a good wood gatherer. And there is a level 150 beaver down there, but it looks like the Rex that we met earlier did not forget about us taking his obsidian. Well, might as well get some free cementing paste. Because all the beavers were gone, I was free to harvest all the cementing paste and wood in peace. Well, sort of. In due time, the beavers will respawn, as well as the beaver dams, so we quickly marked it on our map and set out exploring and farming. By day 35, we were back at base with a full inventory of goodies in our Anki. We need to take a couple of these walls out. And after making our base a little bit more comfortable, we decided we'd go out and farm up some forges. We farmed stone and crafted forges as we went, and on the morning of day 36, we had a bunch of forges crafted up and all filled up thanks to Hanky. We learned the engram for the fabricator and crafted a couple more smithies up. We crafted some wooden catwalks which will allow us to put the smithies on the wall and save a little bit of space within our base. I just want a couple cryopods. On day 37, we crafted up a ton of stone ceilings to start expanding our base. Oh, not the pestle. We tried to craft some polymer in our pestle and mortar, but yeah, we need a fabricator for that, so that's going to be a big priority. We crafted up a bunch of ammo as well as some more tranks. We began searching the shoreline for some of those elusive oil nodes. The resource map said there were oil nodes on land, but I couldn't find any, and since I don't have proper scuba yet, we're gonna have to do this without a scuba tank. Yeah, nope, we're gonna find a better spot. Halfway through day 38, we finally found an oil node that was shallow enough to make it down without scuba gear. Yeah, we're gonna be cutting it close here. Go, 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 go. And when I say shallow, I mean halfway down to the ocean floor. We were literally only able to take a few swings on these nodes before running back to the top for oxygen. But after running back and forth a bunch of times, we finally had enough oil to make our fabricator. We spent the rest of day 39 gathering oil and also looking for tech creatures. And after all that hard work, we were back at base on the morning of day 40 to craft our new Fabby. Never enough oil. And once again, we used the ladder placement trick to make sure our Fabby was placed nice and straight against our walls. Nice. And now that we had our Fabby, we can put all this obsidian to good use and start crafting hard polymer. We also crafted up a bunch more cementing paste. And we learned the engrams for the ghillie set. Now we can put that organic polymer to use. We filled up our troughs, and on the morning of day 41, we started making some cool stuff in our Fabby. We also came across the decent level Listro, and you guys know I'm a sucker for high level tames. We crafted our shoddy and also our Listro tamed up, which we named Lissa the Listro. We also made a ton of shotgun ammo, which takes a long time. Day 43, we set out on our RG to see if we could find some good drops. I'm sure you guys already know, but Ark is all about the high level loot and the high level dinos. And of course cryopods. We ferried a bunch of resources up to this white drop and started crafting as many cryopods as we could. More cryopods. In my opinion, cryopods are probably one of the most OP items in all of Ark. So many bug drops on this map. We searched for tames and drops all through the night, and on the morning of day 44 we came across this magmasaur. Right next to the magmasaur there were a bunch of Ankies, and I guess there would probably be Dodix around too. We found a thorny dragon, which is really interesting. I had to knock it out. You'll be coming home with us. After stripping down into some cooler attire, we babysat our thorny dragon all through the day. If I would have known the saddle was going to be such a headache to craft, I probably would have opted for a beaver, but we searched for a good Doedicurus all through the day. We did come across some more of that elusive crystal though, and we had to grab as much as we could carry. We were not going back to base without a decent Doedic, so we searched throughout the night, and on the morning of day 45 we came across a pretty cool colored one. Thankfully, he was pretty close to our thorny dragon trap, so we picked him and dropped him in the trap. We farmed and crafted some pieces to make a small platform, and this will just make tranking him out a little bit easier. We climbed to the top of our platform and began the tranking process. Doedics take a lot of tranks, and especially because you have to shoot them right in the tail. But by the end of the day, he was knocked out and ready to be fed some berries. And sometime through the night, he tamed up, and we named him Big Dode. We spent day 46 farming drops. I'll take those. Day 47 was more drops, and we took some time to take in the beautiful environment. Day 48, we learned the engram to make clay and explored a little bit. We found a bunch of trapped monkeys in this house. I'll come back for you. Decent level ones, too. I definitely like to have some high level Dinopithecus, so I'll definitely be coming back here. On day 49, we were in the desert biome to farm up some clay. And by day 50, we were back at base with all of our stuff from the desert to craft the thorny dragon saddle. I also crafted a Doedicurus saddle, and I spent the rest of day 51 farming stone. And now we could craft a whip, which is one of Ark's best items in my opinion. Not only is the whip good for herding dinos, it's also good for transferring items if you're weight capped. On day 52, we learnt the engrams for the industrial forge and stuff, and we crafted a bunch of scuba gear. That night, we set out with our new scuba gear in search of some good underwater tames. On day 53, we scouted megalodons. Now that we can cryo one, we can pretty much get one home from any location. We eventually found and tranked a level 140, which is really close to max. We harvested a bunch of prime meat from the locals, and fed up our new Megalodon. Lost Island has a very interesting underwater biome, so I definitely want to get on top of getting some good underwater tames. Eventually our new shark tamed up, and we named him Sharknado. On day 54, we had everything to make his saddle, and we saddled him up and went out farming some XP. Megalodons are so strong. By day 55, we were still out exploring the ocean seas. Really, we were looking for a high-level bassie. We made a pit stop at base and noticed there was an intruder trying to break in. Boom, headshot. We spent the rest of the night looking for drops on our RG. On day 56, we were almost ambushed at a blue drop. This better be worth it. Come on, Ark. There's something really weird going on with the drops on this map. We farmed a bunch of penguins for their organic polymer and repaired our ghillie set. Best armor in the game. On day 57, we stopped back at that jungle ruin to check on our monkey friends, but it seems like they escaped. How did you guys even get in here? On day 58, we came across the Titanosaur, which I'm pretty sure is pretty rare on this map. We scouted Rexes for the rest of the day, also stopping at any decent drops along the way. Alright, my game's broken. We came across the first tech variant that we've seen in a while, so we harvested him up with our RG. We scouted the northern island for the rest of the day looking for Rexes. Level 20. Day 59, we tried our luck on the southwest island looking for some good Rexes. I swear nothing over 100 is spawning. And that night our luck had changed. We came across the level 140 griffin. On day 60 we had all the stuff to throw up a griffin trap and wasted no time in putting it down on this little mountainside. Make sure to put pillars in the middle of your griffin traps, it really saves a lot of time. We quickly went down the mountainside and grabbed that 140 griffin and led him up to our griffin trap. Get in that trap. Ugh. After maybe half a dozen attempts, we eventually got the griffin stuck in the trap. Why do you have to be so difficult? But it's all thanks to our little pillars in the middle of our trap that the griffin was stuck. The battle with the griffin lasted pretty much throughout the entire day. How many tranks does this take? It's been so long since I tamed the griffin, so I'm unsure if it's like 10 tranks or 100 tranks. But eventually the griffin was dropped. Oh, this is amazing. 140 griffin. So excited. We spent the night gathering prime meat from the gracious donors down in the jungle. It's for the greater good. And on the morning of day 61, our griffin was ready to be fed up. While we babysat our griffin, we threw down a campfire and crafted up some cooked meat. Yum 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 yum. Delicioso. And while we were snacking on our chicken nuggies, he tamed up, and we named him Big Bird. And you don't need a saddle for these guys. Griffins can really move at Mach speed, especially if you skip them off rocks like this. I'll never forget how meta the Griffin used to be on official PvP back when it first came out. And now that we have our cool new Griffin, we headed home. On day 62, we came across the purple drop with 2 Ascendant Saddle BPs. They're not great BPs, but it's better than I have been getting from the drops. You're so rude. It's on, Rex. While I was at this yellow drop, I was interrupted by this duo of very rude Rexes. So it was time to put our new Griffin to the test and see if we could get these guys. Go, 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 Griffin. Alright, that might have been a little more than I bargained for, but I think it's safe to say that Griffins are not made for melee combat. Half HP. On day 63, we were back at base with Big Bird and friends. Lystro will lick your wounds. We played with our Lystro and filled up our troughs with all the meat we got. We decided we'd do a little bit of work on the base since we have our cool new Doedicurus. and crafted a bunch of stone building pieces in between farm runs with our Doedicurus and our RG. I really should have got a Doedicurus earlier. If there's one thing I would have changed in this playthrough, it's getting a Doedicurus about 20 days earlier. But that's the way Ark goes, I guess. We were making quick progress with our Doedicurus and continued work on the base all through the night. On day 64, we continued farming and working on expanding our base a bit. I like this base location. On day 65, we learnt the engrams for the aircons and crafted one of these Ascendant Ghillie BPs. We made a bunch of dyes and cleaned up the base. And on day 66, we spotted a lightning wyvern. How'd you get out here? Seeing this wyvern reminded me that I don't have any eggs yet, so we scouted out the trench and eventually came across some suitable eggs. We spent the rest of day 67 outrunning these wyverns and scouting out the local Quetzals. How far will you guys go? In my opinion, the best way to outrun these guys is take them to the skybox and then just dip straight down as soon as they attack. And once we lost the aggro of the wyverns, we were free to go. On day 68, we stopped in the snow biome and we came across a high-level Daedon. I don't think I'll use him for the boss fight, but having him just to heal up our injured Rexes will be worthwhile. By day 69, our Daedon had tamed up, and we came across the 140 Snow Owl. After we tamed him, we farmed up a bunch of drops in the snow area, and on day 70, we were back at base with all of our new goodies. We crafted some saddles and went out farming. We made a ton of these torches and filled them with wood. Since we don't have air conditioners yet, this will help us hatch our wyvern eggs. Aircons are definitely better, but these will do the job just as well. Afterwards, we threw down our wyvern eggs and waited for them to hatch. We went on a meat run and threw down some troughs for our new babies and our Daedon. Here we go. During that night, our poison wyvern had hatched. Just look at how beautiful it is. We cryoed him up while we waited for our lightning egg to hatch. Lightnings are way better. While we waited, we filled up our troughs on the morning of day 71, and before long, our lightning wyvern had hatched as well. We turned on our Daedon's passive healing and uncryoed both of the wyverns. Between my snow owl and my Daedon, keeping these wyverns HP high while they starve will be a breeze. Using healing dinos is a good option rather than using milk. Just keep an eye on your Daedon's food meter because they starve really fast when they're doing passive heals. Daddy will be back later. Now that our babies could be left alone for a little bit, I did what any good father would do and left. Gotta get that stone, boys. And I was surprised to see how well our Daedon was doing. It looks like he was healing up all of our dinos in our base. While our wyverns were maturing, on day 73 we took our thorny dragon out to harvest more wood and thatch. The thorny dragon's tail swipe ability is really neat considering how early we had thorny dragons, and now that our base was starting to take shape, it was time to make some ocean platforms. We farmed and smelted up a bunch more metal, and ferried all the metal ingots to our smithies. And after a little shuffle, we had enough metal in our smithy to craft our first ocean platform. If you're based on a body of water like we are here, these ocean platforms are very good bang for the buck. You can build on top of them, and you can park your underwater dinosaurs inside them. Nice. We crafted up some stone stairs to make the transition between our base and the ocean platform smooth. We did some more crafting and upgrading on our base, and about this time is when I noticed our wyverns were starting to outgrow the base, so we cryoed them up so we can move them to the ocean platform. Very nice. Since I don't have leashes down yet, I figure I will put these guys on passive. On day 74, we took our lightning wyvern out for a spin to farm some drops and look for some decent Rexes. What is this? Alright, now I'm thoroughly convinced that there's something weird going on with my drops on this map. Let me know if you guys had the same luck as I did. We rode our wyvern up to Bronto Bay to check for any Rex spawns and pretty much decimate the entire Bronto population. Just a little tip, if you're looking for a high level Rex, it's very important to take out any dinosaur that's in the area where a Rex might spawn to allow a high level to spawn. We spent the rest of the day opening up spawns for Rexes and made it back to base to give our wyvern some fitting names. Wind Fury. And Mrs. Tiny Mane. And now that we have a few flyers, I feel like it's due time to put down some dino leashes. Nice. On day 75, we took Mrs. Tiny Mane out for a spin to get some levels, while also targeting Rexes or other dinos that might block a Rex spawn. We're gonna pump all the weight we can in this guy. I like having a wyvern for weight and a wyvern for fighting, so Tiny Man will be the weight. On day 76, we are back at base to craft our Indie Forge and a few air cons. We also placed down another ocean plat to expand our base footprint a little bit. And if you didn't know already, you can use ceilings to fill in the center of these ocean platforms. AFK XP farm. And by day 76, we pretty much had a full ocean platform that was covered. Using these ocean platforms definitely beats having to pillar out into the ocean, especially if you're doing what I'm doing here and creating a crafting area on top of your platform. Beautiful. And by day 77, we had finished our crafting area. On day 78, we went out scouting for more Rexes. We found a max level Therizinosaur, so we decided to knock him out and bring him home. Maybe I'll have to do the boss with a Theri at this point. We babysat our Theri and kept an eye on him through the taming process menu. And by nighttime, our Theri was tamed up and ready to be brought home. We named him Beautiful Bird. Get inside your cryopod. On day 79, our quest for a high-level Carno continued. We farmed metal throughout the day with our Anki and stopped at all the drops along the way. Ugh. Now that we have Indie Forges, getting metal will be a breeze. I always like to build my Indie Forges outside for easy unloading. Never too much metal. Day 80 was even more metal farming. I wanted to try to get close to slot capping at least one of these forges. And with our high level Anki, that shouldn't really be a problem. And thanks to Hanky, by nighttime we had officially slot capped our furnace. Day 81 consisted mostly of some base renovations. Now that we have a bunch of metal coming in, we can really start to outfit our base. Welcome home, buddy. We set aside a little time to play on our new Beautiful Bird, and he was keen on giving all of our dinos a nice little rub down, so that was nice. We crafted our first industrial grill and placed it down. And now that we have a very efficient way of cooking meat, we took our wyvern out to farm up some raw meat. Need to find some Rexes. On the morning of day 82, while scouting, we came across the level 150 RG. Nice castle. We also came across the level 90 Quetzal, still a little too low though. And we came across the level 95 Alpha Carno, which is neat. Ooh, what's in here? We accidentally stumbled across this Magmasaur cave, which holds a bunch of Magmasaur eggs, so you know we have to try to get one. Please be a 140 egg. We didn't have any luck getting an egg in the Magmasaur cave, but we did stumble across the lava cave, which I'm sure I'll need for the artifact, so I did a little bit of exploring. There's no way that's the artifact. To my surprise, we stumbled right upon the artifact of the immune. I'm like 50% certain we need that to summon the boss, so it was definitely time well spent. Back in the Magmasaur cave, we safe spotted all the magmas that we could. Getting hit by one of these guys' fire attacks will certainly mean death, and considering this is a hardcore playthrough, that'll mean the end of our playthrough. So we definitely had to safe spot these guys with care. Ooh, that was close. We continued this process throughout the day, safe spotting Magmasaurs, checking the eggs, and then resetting the cave so that more Magmasaurs and more eggs would spawn. By day 83, we were still in the Magmasaur cave looking for a decent level egg. Level 20. It definitely seems like the Magmasaur eggs are tied to the level of the Magmasaur that spawns, but yeah, I had a really rough time finding a high level egg. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh my. What are you doing out here? Oh no, that was a little close for comfort there. I can't understate the dangers of trying to get a Magmasaur egg on a hardcore playthrough. We continued resetting the cave and resetting the eggs, and safe spotting them from the safety of this center pier here. If there's one thing I learned doing this, it's height is key when safe spotting these guys. Their flame breath doesn't go through the mesh, so as long as you can hide behind something, you're pretty much good to go. Sorry, you can't get me here, buddy. The hunt for the Magmasaur egg lasted all the way into the morning. But eventually, on the morning of day 84, we started to have a little bit more luck, and a 140 spawned, as well as a level 100. Oh, I'm so excited this is over. Hopefully. Eventually, we persevered, and we got a level 140 Magmasaur egg. Perfect. We kept the higher level eggs we got from the hunt, and ate the low level ones, just because they take up so much weight. And thanks to the Magmasaurs dropping sulfur, we already knew what we would feed the babies. When we got back home, we learned the engrams for all the electrical stuff, and began thinking about outfitting our base with electricity. Better late than never, I guess. We took out Mrs. Tinymane out for a quick trip to harvest some organic polymer from the locals. Just a little too low. We're gonna need lots of poly, so it's good to farm the organic instead of using hard poly. 130 Rex, okay, decent. We may come back for that Rex if we don't find anything else, but in the meantime we made our way back to base and crafted up some fridges and some air conditioners. On day 85 we started work on the crawl space underneath the floors of our ocean platform. This is where I'm going to put all my electrical wires as well as my troughs, just to keep the base looking clean and less laggy. Thank you, Flex Cable. Halfway through the day, we turned on our generator and we had power. Cover that up. And now that we had electricity, we could place down our air cons, which will allow us to hatch our Magmasaur eggs and any other eggs we'll hatch in the future. Yeah, I need to cover that up. We placed down walls and ceilings around the air conditioners to make a platform, just to make it look a little cleaner and less janky. Much better. While the Magmasaur eggs were cooking, we learnt the engrams for all the irrigation pipes and began crafting some metal ones. And just around that time, our first Magmasaur had hatched. Aww. I didn't have a lot of sulfur, but we had a little bit from fighting the Magmasaurs. That night, we began work on the plumbing on our base. And by the morning of day 86, we had running water, and we placed our industrial cookers, as well as our reservoir tanks and our taps. We have water. And that morning, our 140 Magmasaur had hatched as well. You want some sulfur, buddy? Now that both the baby Magmasaurs had hatched, I tossed them out on the ocean platform for a quick snack and a chance to heal up. I hope I have enough sulfur. Later that day, we went out and farmed a bunch of berries to make a bunch of med brews in our industrial cooker. Yeah, we're gonna need a lot more of these. We babysat our magmas throughout the night to make sure they didn't starve. You might be able to feed them something else, but the only thing I know is sulfur, so. On day 87, we were out looking for drops, and we stumbled across that 130 Rex. We threw down a behemoth gate trap right next to the Rex, and got his attention. Come on, get in the trap. Get in the trap. There we go. A little more. Oh no, I'm stuck. There we go. Whew. After a little bit of finagling, we finally coaxed the Rex into our trap. And now there was only one thing left to do. I mean, it's 20 levels off max. It'll do for now. What are you guys doing in here? We fed up our Rex with the local store of prime meat and began babysitting him. Before long, he was tamed up at 192 and we cryoed him and headed out. Might as well look for some good baboons. By this point, I was not confident that we'd find some good Rexes, so I was beginning to consider other options for the boss fight. We came across the 135 Dinopithecus within these ruins, and we took out his friends and fed him raw prime meat. That was a headache. And once again, we decimated the local spawn spots to hopefully allow for better dinos to spawn. And what is going on over here? I had no idea the baby Dinopithecus could ride the mature ones. We spent the rest of day 88 farming drops and looking for high level Dinopithecus. And we had to heal up our wyvern a bit. Ooh, this will be sweet. We had an idea. We blocked off this little waterfall area and used our wyvern to pick up Dinopithecus and drop within this little chasm. And it makes for a makeshift trap. Now just to find them some friends. That will do nicely. I'm sure I don't have to really explain it, but the way to tame these guys is to get a high level or an alpha surrounded by the lower levels, and then you take out the lower level Dinopithecus, and then the alpha submits to you, allowing you to feed it up once you get it below a certain threshold, and you can catch it. But before too long, we had a 140 Dinopithecus, and it went a lot easier than the first one we tamed. We monkeyed around a little bit on Big Mama, and pretty much experimented with the Dinopithecus's utility. At this point, I'm starting to consider breeding these guys up for the boss, just because we're having very bad luck with Rexes. 145. We repeated the process with the 145 we found. You would think this would make him hate me, but just a little more, a little more. Yeah, there we go. Once he tamed up, we named him Big Papa and cryoed him up. I felt like I was on a roll, so I decided I'd go out and check the spawns for some high-level Rexes. Any Rexes in there? While we were out and about, we stumbled across this level 90 Giga. A little too low to tame, but level 15. But that's when our luck changed, and we came across the level 180, which is max, Tech Rex. We wasted no time throwing up a janky trap to get this guy secure. I'm not sure if I'm happy or sad. As great as it is that we found a level 180 Tech Rex, it's kind of a bad thing because that means we're gonna need to get really lucky to find a high level Tech Rex to mate him with. But at this point, beggars can't be choosers, and I'll take whatever I can get. We fed him up with prime meat for maximum taming effectiveness and started babysitting him. We harassed the locals a little bit while he tamed up. Go Raptor. And we also scouted out the surrounding area to look for any other high level tames. We did come across these curious mushrooms growing on these vines, and you can even harvest them like berries. Oh no, 150, I should have tamed you. By this point, our Tech Rex was almost tamed up. Not quite full effectiveness, but we will take it regardless. We named our new Rex Big Tomato and cryoed him up to take him home. On day 89, we came across this Ascendant Dunkel saddle, which is really nice if we had a Dunkel. We made it back to base to uncryo everything and get some saddles on them. Looks like you guys are growing fast. Our Magmasaurs had fully matured. Now the only thing left to do is craft some saddles up and go out for a test drive. We uncryoed all of our new tames and wasted no time in getting some saddles ready. Progress. I was really excited to take my new Magmas out for a spin, so I threw on their saddle and went out harvesting to see how good they are. Magmas are probably one of my favorite newer dinos in Ark. Not only are they great harvesters and formidable DPSers, but their saddles also come with a cool little mechanic. Boom, explosion. The mechanic I'm referring to is the saddle's smelting capabilities. The saddle on a Magmasaur works as a mobile forge. All you need is some stone. After playing with our new Magmasaur, we set out on our RG loaded up full of goodies to go out and find a drop for cryopods and a cryo fridge. We also got a nice Daedon saddle, which was a nice bonus. Level 96, come on. Back at base on day 90, we wasted no time in placing our cryo fridges and filling them up with all of our new cryopods. We also crafted and threw down some more dino leashes and prepared for the inevitable mass breeding session. Start breeding, guys. While our Dinopithecus were breeding, we set out looking for some otters in the swamp biome. Nope. Turning around. After a very close call with a high-level Capro, we continued on our search for a decent level otter. Otters love salmon. The process for taming otters is simple. Find a high-level salmon, pick up the salmon, and run behind him and spam E until you eventually tame your otter. Big otter. And while we were out this way, I figured I'd grab a second one just in case something happened to the first one. We spent the rest of the day farming metal on our Anki and looking for more Rexes. We were having pretty bad luck finding Rexes at this point. A lot of them were spawning, but none of them were high enough level to take home with us. Now I feel bad. Taking out all these Rexes does mean I'll have lots of Tyrannosaurus arms. We spent the rest of the day decimating the population of low-level Rexes on the map. The physics are impeccable in this game. We also made a stop over at the terminal to check and see what all we need to spawn the boss. We continued hunting all the low-level Rexes and made a quick pit stop to grab some free cementing paste. It's free. We stopped at all the drops along the way, and eventually we came across a pretty nice Bassie saddle. Definitely need a Bassie now. On the morning of day 91, we stopped at this purple drop and we came across a really nice Ascendant long neck. We continued our hunt and farmed more drops along the way, and we got a pretty nice crossbow, but not as nice as our other. We came across the 140 Rex and a pretty sweet pair of ghillie pants. We quickly threw down a behemoth trap to get this Rex strength out, and thankfully this guy didn't put up too much of a fight getting in our trap. Beautiful. We found a really nice pump as well as a really nice flak chest piece at a purple drop. By this point our Rex had tamed up and we got a bunch of stuff in our RG from the drops, so we made our way back to base to unload. Just look at that pump. Wow, look at the Dura. We tossed out our new Rex and we can't breed him, but does anyone know why this glitch is still in the game? Back on the surface, we made more ocean platforms and placed them down next to our other ones. We covered the holes in entirety in metal ceilings because these will pretty much be solely for breeding. Maybe I should have used stone ceilings. This may seem like I'm overdoing it now, but once we start our mass breeding, we're going to need all the space we can get. Once I was satisfied with my breeding platforms, I took to my wyvern to go farm some stuff to make scuba. Gonna need a few scuba tanks. We cryoed our Sonoma crops and threw our otter on just for fun. And we set out on Sharknado into the deep oceans. Come on, let's find a good Bassie. After a bit of exploring in the ocean depths, we eventually found ourselves surrounded by some not so nice megalodons. Where did they all come from? Sharknado, you can take this guy. We continued our search through the ocean depths in search of a good Bassie. And that night, our hard work paid off, and we came across a really nice Bassie. We just had to deal with his minions first. But by morning, we dealt with all the baddies in the ocean, and now it was just us and the Bassie. Who doesn't love lamb chops? And after following the Bassie around for what seemed like forever, on the morning of day 92, he was tamed. Get in your Pokeball. We brought his saddle along, so we swapped out Sharknado for our new Bassie. Bassies are super overpowered in Ark. Not only are they good DPSers, but they are totally immune to the really nasty jellyfish in the depths of the oceans. Can't touch me, boys. We stumbled across another nice bassie, and we had some kibble and lamb chops left over, so we tamed him up and traded him out. The bassies will allow us to collect these underwater drops on Lost Island, as they're pretty much all surrounded by jellyfish, and contain some of the best loot on the whole map. I'll take that. Scuba. 710. Wow. Riot. Alright. Dodic saddle. That's what I'm talking about. I will take those. And since we were already down here, we used the time to harvest up some oil. Tuso saddle. Nice. After a lot of drops, we stumbled upon a mosasaur. Mosasaurs like to flee when you try to trap them, so this is gonna be tough. Eventually though, he got stuck in this rock face, and we threw up some behemoth gates around him to trank him out. 150 Mosa. Wow. We continued farming drops while our Mosa tamed up, but eventually he had tamed up, and we swapped him out with our Bassie. Who wants some of this? On the morning of day 93, we were out with our mosasaur farming drops and pumping XP. Both good BPs. Definitely will take that. Beautiful shield. Ooh, a prod. Too bad this isn't PvP. We found a ton of really good riot gear in all these drops. We also made a pit stop at one of these islands to try to farm up some turtles quick. Who can guess what they're for? Back at base, we began the tedious process of sorting through all this good loot. We healed up our turtles and gave our Dinopithecus some cool helmets. Just in time for the baby. Couldn't you just mate with one of those Rexes? Please? Later that day, we went out and looked for the Tuso that we found earlier looking for drops. I'm sorry, Mr. Turtle. Here's a little black pearl for you. Yum, 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 yum. We tamed him up easily and named him Big Toos. We cryoed him up and quickly made our way back to base so we could take him for a test drive. The Wyverns of the Sea. Day 94, we set out on our Wyvern to scout out a good Rex. We took out all the low-level spawns that might be blocking high levels from spawning. And eventually, all of our hard work paid off, and a 180 male Tech Rex had spawned. We threw up a trap around him and destroyed any threats that might ruin his effectiveness. You're coming home with me, buddy. And just like that, we had a good chance of defeating the Dinopithecus. We babysat our new Rex, and eventually that night he came out at 100% effectiveness at level 269. We named him Big Daddy. What are you doing here, Monk? I thought I left you on Extinction. On day 95, we came across an old pal from our Extinction playthrough and tamed him up for our employment as a baby watcher. That day, we also tamed up a Mana just in case the Dinopithecus fights a little too hard. And then we tamed up a second one, just in case the first one is afraid of the Dinopithecus. With all of our new tames, we made our way back to base to uncryo everything and begin breeding. Oh, this is beautiful. We gave our Rexes names that were appropriate to their base stats to help us with selective breeding. And before too long, we had our first Rex egg. Alright, we're going to need to turn the mating up a bit. We tossed out our new monkey where we're going to be hatching all of our eggs and gave him a fitting name, as well as set him to aggressive. There we go. We did a little bit of breeding around the base, like we bred up this Mana and a couple more monkeys, and also did a little work on the base to throw down more troughs underneath. We threw down a few fridges to help us keep our eggs organized and covered up all the ugly electrical wires with ceilings. Nice. Considering these Rexes don't want to mate for another hour, we're definitely going to have to turn the settings up a little bit. We turned up the mating interval and began crafting some saddles for our Rexes. Whoops, I think I turned up the wrong setting. We took our ticklebird out to farm a ton of fiber to make these saddles. Wouldn't want to mess with that guy. And in a couple swipes, we pretty much slot capped him with fiber. We filled up our troughs and cleaned up the base a little bit to prepare for the breeding. We took our wyvern and our Rex out on a meat run, and it was not going as fast as I hoped. I really wish I had a Giga. I didn't even know you guys lived here. We picked a 145 Maywing and brought him back to base for taming. We dropped him in our little trap. Well, we eventually got him in our trap, and then we began the taming process. Maywings work as a trough for raising babies, so he will definitely come in handy when we start mass breeding. And before long, he tamed up, and we named it May. You genderless beauty. Look at you. You're so cool. They really are one of Ark's coolest mounts. We continued gathering eggs through the night, and we took our little Maywing for a test drive. It's like a dolphin that flies. Wow, that's so cool. We had lots of work to do still, so we parked our Maywing back at base on the morning of day 96. Give me all those eggs. While on a meat run, we came across a low-level Giga, but it turns out even dinos are capable of meshing. It's just like official PvP. Later we came across a level 100 and wasted no time in taking him out to harvest him for his precious materials. We crafted more Rex saddles, so expensive, and made a bunch of shocking trank darts just in case we come across the Giga. Aww. Our egg production was coming along well, so we decided we'd grab some out and begin hatching them up to look for mutations. Mama Maywing. And Uncle Dave. With our little crew of helpful dinos, I knew our eggs would be well taken care of. Ooh. And before long, we had our first batch of Rexes. Selective breeding in Ark can be as easy or as complicated as you make it. Pretty much all you need to do is hatch a bunch of eggs and replace either the male or the female parent with one of the babies that has better stats or all the stats that you're looking for. There are a lot of great guides on YouTube that explain selective breeding in detail, so just check those out if you're curious to learn more. We continued the selective breeding process, replacing the male or the female as we got better babies, and cryoing up all the not-so-sweet babies. Half the battle in selective breeding is staying organized, so make a few fridges. While our new generation was breeding up, we made a bunch of med brews in our industrial cooker. More eggs. We did a little bit of renovation work on the base while we waited on the babies. Beautiful. We continued our meat runs to keep up with all these babies, and before long we were starting to pump out the mutations. Nice. So many Rexes, so little time. Sorry, you don't make the cut. We continued hatching eggs and replacing the parents with the better babies. More Rexes. Get in there. More Rexes. More meat runs to feed all these hungry mouths. And eventually on one of our meat runs, what is that? We stumbled across an underwater Giga at level 140 as well. We wasted no time getting a trap down and getting this guy trapped. Man, that was too close for comfort. Ooh, baby. We fed him up with raw prime and babysat him through the night. Big gig. The next morning, we were back at base with our new Giga. Oh man, you're late to the party. It's a bummer it took us this long to get a Giga, but I mean, he'll definitely help with our meat runs, and we need a lot of meat. We continued the selective breeding process throughout the day, breeding and replacing as necessary. Starting to come along. We pretty much had to spend a lot of time at base babysitting these guys. So we made a bunch of greenhouse pieces and began work on our new greenhouse. That's a lot of eggs. We continued breeding throughout the night, working on the greenhouse as we had time. Alright, this is getting out of hand. Thank you, Mama Maywing. Come on, wildcard, give me those mutations. Hundreds of Rexes probably have been hatched by now, but we're definitely making progress. Our greenhouse was really starting to come along. Now all it needed was some stairs and some actual greenhouse plots. Beautiful. We ran the plumbing, threw down a bunch of plant plots, and even started some electrical work. And by morning, we had a fully functional greenhouse and a ton more Rexes to contend with. We crafted some light posts and a spray gun, and our new greenhouse was really starting to pay off. Yeah, you can tell I had a lot of free time on my hands during this breeding process. But it wasn't all for nothing. With this greenhouse, I'll be able to make a lot of good consumables, and plus it just looks awesome. Nothing like a good home-cooked meal. One might say I've been procrastinating a little bit, and that's a fair assumption. I'm really proud of all the progress that we made on this map. All the cool dinos, and all the nice experiences we had along the way. And that's Ark for you. And what is that? Ark threw us a little gift, and we had gotten a lot of great mutations. With our new tech Rexes, I think we're going to have no problem with the boss fights. Well, at least until the alpha, but we'll see about that. I could always just cheese the Dinopithecus with a mana, but that wouldn't be very much fun. After all that work, we finally had our boss Rex pair, and it only took this many Rexes. Here we go. Yes, yes, it's beautiful. From here on out, breeding will be smooth sailing. Pretty much the only thing we have to do is get a bunch more duplicates of this good Rex. We still needed a bit more meat to raise these guys. And while we were on a meat run, we came across the 140 Amargasaurus that was stuck. We began work on our Amargasaurus trap, and I actually almost ended the entire playthrough right here. Never get lazy. We built a small box next to the Amargasaurus to drop Carnos in, and made our way back to base for more supplies. More eggs. Back near the Amargasaurus, we grabbed a Carno so we could drop it in this little pen. It's important to drop a few dinos in there before you start the taming process. Things got a little janky up here with my frames, but eventually we tamed our Amargasaurus and harvested his spikes to make a saddle. I don't think I'm going to be using this guy in the boss fight, but I figured it's only right to try to tame as many of the Lost Island dinos as I can. They are very cool. The next morning we continued hatching more of our boss Rexes. We were really starting to feel confident now. So beautiful. And we even got a couple really good mutations on these Rexes. Nice. Before long, our entire boss Rex troop was maturing and ready to be imprinted. And it's due time for us to set out looking for these artifacts. One down. I think this is the right one. Get wrecked, son. Beautiful. We went from one cave to the next, grabbing every artifact as we went. 90% of the caves on Lost Island are kind of a cakewalk, all but the last one, and there's a good reason we're saving that one for last. I think I need 3 of these ones. Sorry, Sonoma Crops, it's Otter's time to shine. I'm sure you guys already know, but you can store a ton of artifacts inside of an otter, which really helps when you need multiple of the same artifacts like this one. Oh boy. I think this one's a little challenging. Oh, okay, mana time. Well, this one was easy. Thanks to my mana and my monkey, we were really flying through the drops. Honestly, the hardest part about these artifacts is getting to the caves themselves. Another one bites the dust. Just a few more to go. And the artifact that's in the shipwreck is probably the easiest in all of Ark. Really cool idea though. Oof. I know the challenge of taking on these caves is doing them on foot, but I mean, if you can fit a mana in a spot in Ark, you're gonna use a mana. Headshot. We filled up our otter with all the artifacts for safekeeping. We made a quick pit stop back at base to unload and check on our Rexes. We also placed these artifact pedestals on top of our greenhouse just for the lulz. And by this time, we had a fully mutated, imprinted Rex army that was looking really strong. How I missed my little buddy. We took some time to make some cactus broth as well as some stems, and set out to grab some of the hardest artifacts on this map. It would be a shame if it all ended now. This place gives me anxiety. There's a good reason I saved these artifacts for last. This ruin has a bunch of booby traps, as well as a really high mob density. Sorry, wildcard, you're gonna have to be a little slicker than that. Although we weren't getting hit with the booby traps, our baboon certainly was, and this is where the stems come in handy. I will say, all these buttons that you have to unlock are really cool, and I wish wildcard would utilize this a lot more. Really feel like Indiana Jones. That could have been us. After a little trial and error, we eventually found the right button and were able to grab the artifact. Nice. Oh no, am I trapped? Ooh. That was actually a real scare. Probably the most dangerous trap in this ruin is all these nice drops. And now I'm lost. Ooh, another drop down here though. Eventually though, we were able to escape that labyrinth and we were home free. I just have one more loose end to tie up, and that is a decent level UT. But after a little searching, we found a good candidate and got him trapped and tranked in no time. Perfect. Big Ute. Yes. Back at base with our new artifacts and our cool new UT, we put the last artifacts on their pedestals, which pretty much means we're ready to summon the King Dinopithecus. Even though this is exactly what we've been preparing for, Now that we're here, and now that there's nothing else to do, it feels bittersweet. I'm gonna miss all these dinos so much. I'm gonna miss playing on this map, but there was little time to waste. We had to get these Rexes pumped and statted and healed up and ready for the King Dinopithecus. After some last minute preparations, we statted our Rexes and our UT and began healing them all up. For the King Dinopithecus fight, HP is king. I know a lot of people don't like to go over 40k with their Rexes, but having as much HP as possible is way better than melee damage on this boss fight. We grabbed all of our stuff like our healing brews and finished healing our Rexes and made sure they were ready for the boss fight. And now that I feel like I have everything ready and taken care of, it was time to kick back and relax for just one more night. You guys will be fine, don't worry. I'm sure I'm not alone when I say this, but every time I play on a new map on Ark, I become very attached to the base I've built, the tames I've gathered, and all the dinos that I've bred. But the King Dinopithecus calls out to us, and we will answer that call with full force. After one last good run through on the base, we felt like we have accomplished everything we wanted to accomplish here. All but one thing. King Dinopithecus. I'm gonna miss you guys though. Just one last sit for the road. I am nervous. And yeah, if you guys like this video, make sure to throw a like and maybe even a subscribe. I really appreciate all your guys' support. On the morning of day 100, we began cryoing all of our Rexes and gathering the tribute requirements. I'm coming for you, King Dinopithecus. We threw down a quick vault base just to hold all of our tribute and artifacts, and ferried all the artifacts from our base to the tribute terminal. And now there's just one thing left to do. Alright, you guys are going to listen to my commands and come when called. This is it, guys. The King Dinopithecus fight is really hard. That's why a lot of people like to cheese it with manas. But I have a little trick up my sleeve. If you park all your Rexes right here in this starting cave before the gate that closes, and go aggro the King Dinopithecus and quickly run back, you can quickly run back and find shelter behind your Rexes closest to the door that closes and totally avoid all of the grenades. And here we go. Let's hope this works. Go, 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 go. Alright, Rexes, do your thing. Oh no, oh no. Yes, perfect timing. Alright, because I wasted so much time aggroing the King Dinopithecus, I did not have enough time to get behind my Rexes. But this is the easy fight, so it was no problem. After being teleported out of the Gamma fight, we assessed the damage on our Rexes to see if we needed to replace any. And that's why HP is king on this fight. Look at that. I was confident that my troop would be able to take on Beta no problem. We checked out the new tech engrams that we unlocked, but I think we're just going to jump right into the Beta fight. After healing up our troop and giving them a quick pep talk, we got everyone ready to face the Beta King Dinopithecus. Alright guys, once more with feeling. I swear, moving these Rexes around is half the battle of these boss fights. Once I rallied up all the stragglers and got them in position closest to the door that closes, we went out on our UT to aggro the beta King Dinopithecus. Run, UT, run. I should have pumped run speed on this guy. Perfect placement. This is exactly where you want to be. My Rex army fell out of position a little bit, but once he was down to a quarter HP, I knew the battle was close to being over. Nice. Very nice. We are the champions. That is one ugly monkey. And believe it or not, we took even less damage, all thanks to the safe spot. I replaced the Rexes that were a little worse for wear, and used my Daedon and my Snow Owl to heal up the ones that weren't in horrible shape. And this is it, guys. The Alpha King Dinopithecus. He's absolutely going to be a lot harder than the Gamma and the Beta combined, in my opinion. But I think we have a decent shot. I'm just happy we're here. Alright, thumbs up, let's do this. Alright, now just to wrangle these Rexes up. After making sure we had no deserters and our Rexes were in a good place, we went out to aggro the Alpha King Dinopithecus. I am kind of nervous. Go, 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 go. Oh man, this is not good. I am stuck. Ooh, that was close. Alright, you guys are starting to look a little bad. Just a little more, a little more, a little more. Yes! Oh my lord! I did not know if that one was gonna go as smooth. And our UT is not even at half HP. That just goes to show how good the safe spot is. I can't believe we made it this far. On day one, I thought we'd probably make it to the Gamma fight before perishing, but thanks to a little luck and a lot of hard work and trial and error, we managed to overcome the challenges on Ark's Lost Island. And we get the coolest thing ever, the Dinopithecus skin. This has to be the coolest skin yet. I really enjoyed my time here on the Lost Island. We made so many cool memories and so many cool experiences along the way. Who knows, maybe I'll just hang out on this map for a little while. Or maybe I'll just ascend to the next map. Either way, make sure to show some love on this video. And let me know if you guys have any questions or just want to tell me what map you guys would like to see next. I'll respond to all of your guys' comments as best as I can. And I really look forward to hearing back from you guys. Your support means so much to me. I've been playing Ark pretty much since release and have a ton of experience and knowledge in the game. But even a veteran like myself still learns new things every day I play. So much of what I've learned in this game has come from the community of players like yourself So don't be shy. If you have any questions or comments on this playthrough, drop a comment below and I'll definitely get back to you guys. Until then, this has been your boy Mr. Rums, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.